What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with another update video today. We've got a few different updates from a few reliable sources. Let's start off with the least reliable source, and that is Simon Jordan, ex-Crystal Palace chairman. He's come out and talking about how Spurs should sign Zaha, and he's also talking about how Zaha's looking to leave Palace and he thinks Palace should get rid of him. What have you got to add on this one?
Yeah, he was talking on TalkSport. He's a regular contributor on that platform nowadays.
Talk shite, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he was saying how he said if I was Zaha, I'd move to Tottenham. And he said if Mourinho could get a good deal together, depends on how Mourinho wants to play. But he said Zaha should be more affordable this summer than he was last summer. And he said knowing Zaha, he would be willing to go to Tottenham. Look, I'm a big fan of Wilfried Zaha. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a really good player. I think he's a solid winger, versatile. I think he's been carrying Crystal Palace for a while, a lot of the time. And I honestly think he would upgrade the squad. I understand he's not a priority, but I do think that if we were to sign him, it would be a big improvement on our attacking options. I actually think he offers a bit of an X factor, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player, but it's a lot of money to spend on him. Like what they're going to want. You know, they wanted 80 million last summer. They're going to want, what, 50 minimum
around
this summer?
That, probably, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a lot of money to spend on him, and I think that he hasn't had a good season this year at all. And I think sometimes when you down tools, it's hard to get it back.
I agree, but he's still young enough. He's still 27, so I think he's motivated now to go get his career to the next stage. And I think it's very difficult for him at Crystal Palace when he's been double and triple marked every single game, and he's having to create things out of nothing. And I think at a better club like Spurs or whoever he goes to, it would be different, and I think his output would increase a lot. I think a lot. I think you're looking at a player who could potentially be getting 10-15 goals a season for you.
Either way, it's a nonsense story, because first of all, we're not going to be spending 50 million on anyone this summer, and second of all, Jose loves Lucas Moura. We've just signed Steven Bergwijn, and we've got Sonny, and we've got Lamela as well. So I just can't see us signing him.
Levy would not sanction this deal in a million years. I'm just saying, if we were to sanction it, I think it would be a great signing. I really do. I believe in Zaha's ability a lot. I think he's improved a lot in the last few years.
Except for this season.
But I think his output is relative to where Palace are and his position in the team. And I think also he provides a kind of backup to Harry Kane as well, because he can play up front as well. So because of that versatility, it's very important. I think he's better suited up front than any of our current options. Maybe you can argue Sonny, but I think he's a bit stronger than Sonny.
Yeah, but I would argue Steven Bergwijn is more suited to playing up front than Zaha. You know, he seems a lot more stronger on the ball. It seems like he can hold up the ball upfield. He's done it before for us. So I actually think Steven Bergwijn might be more suited to it than Zaha.
I think Zaha is. I mean, it's remains to be seen. We saw a bit of Bergwijn up front. We didn't see much of him.
Yeah, but also he played up front after playing non-stop, and it was that Chelsea game, wasn't it? When he played up front, and he went off injured that game, and it was at a point where he was being overplayed. Zaha's played there a number of times. Yeah, I want to see Bergwijn there a number of times before I judge him properly. But from his attributes, I think he would be more suited to there than Zaha.
Possibly. Anyway, we're not going to get Zaha.
No, we're not. So basically, the first whole 3 minutes of this video has been a bullshit talk. But let's move on. Fabrizio Romano, very reliable journalist, has been talking about Hojbjerg. Just a quick one here, and he has been talking about how Southampton and Tottenham are locked in talks, but no agreement has been made as of yet. Anything to add on that?
No, I mean we'll touch on the next story, but he's the most reliable journalist at the moment out there, so you've got to take his word very seriously. That's all.
And another reliable journalist, Dan Kilpatrick, is it of the Evening Standard? Yeah, he's been talking about David Brooks, Callum Wilson, and Kim Min-jae,
and Hojbjerg as well.
And Hojbjerg. So you want to fill us in on that?
So he said Tottenham are very, very confident of signing Hojbjerg. So that looks very likely at the moment. He said there's not much difference in the price between what Southampton want and what Spurs are offering at the moment. So that deal should be done.
Do you think it's that 15-25 million pound mark?
He said we've bid 15 million. They want 25, and we'll probably meet somewhere in the middle. Which is as expected. And he said he wants to join Spurs ahead of anyone else at the moment. Whoever's in for him.
You know what I reckon it's going to be? I reckon we'll get Hojbjerg for like 20 million or so, or just under 20 million, something like that, and then we'll get rid of Kyle Walker-Peters to them for about 10 million or something like that.
I don't understand why they don't want him included in the deal. It doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, so the Hojbjerg deal does look like is the main one that's got legs at the moment. Kim Min-jae, he said that we have officially inquired about him to the Chinese, whoever he plays for, I'm not sure.
Beijing Guan.
And interestingly enough, this weekend the Chinese Super League did start and he was left out of the squad. And similarly, Hojbjerg was left out of the squad for Southampton's last game of the season. So these moves potentially starting to maybe starting to have legs. I know it's the beginning of the transfer window, only just opened yesterday.
Yeah.
So there's a long way to go.
It's a long one as well. It doesn't finish till October as well.
Yeah. So it's a long way to go, but these ones seem to have got the ball rolling already. But the more interesting he was talking about was David Brooks and Callum Wilson. He was talking about how, first of all, he was talking about how Spurs are in for a right back and a backup for Harry Kane. That's where our priorities lie. And he said Tottenham are big admirers of David Brooks and of Callum Wilson.
Do you think Callum Wilson comes to Spurs as a backup striker though?
For sure.
You think so? Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Because I think he's a good striker. He's a striker that, if he starts every game, gets you between 10 and 15 goals a season. So obviously we need more than that. Harry Kane obviously 25 to 30. So obviously Harry Kane...
No, I'm not talking about him coming to us as a starter. I'm saying, would he want to come to us as a sub?
Oh! The only reason I think maybe yes is because his injury record is so bad. And although recently he stayed fit quite a while and he's been alright, but because his injury, because he knows he can't rely on his fitness, maybe he'd be more willing to be a sub for a top team, because if he's starting every game, he knows that he's at risk of breaking down.
Yeah, that is true. But on the flip side of that, when you talk about his quality, I could see him going into an Everton or something like that and starting. It's debatable whether he's better than Dominic Calvert-Lewin or someone like that.
This is a guy who's been capped for England fairly recently, was he, Callum Wilson? Well, not too long ago he got a cap for England.
He scored, didn't he?
I think he did score, didn't he? Yeah. And this is a guy who does have the ability to be a starting striker in the Premier League, and he does have the ability to be getting 10 to 15 goals in the Premier League for a team who does sign him. But I just get the feeling that if he has the opportunity to join a team like Tottenham, who are battling higher up the table than say if he was to join, I don't know, like Southampton or something.
Or he can join Leeds and start every single game in the Premier League.
Right, but then he's always at risk if he starts every game of breaking down at some point, and then he's had so many long-term injuries recently. Maybe, just maybe.
Saying about Harry Kane though.
Yeah, but not as bad as Callum Wilson. He's been out with serious injuries. Like Harry Kane. Yeah, Harry Kane has had injuries past 3 seasons, but he has played most of the season, unlike Callum Wilson, who's been out for big periods.
But whenever Callum Wilson has an extended run in the team and he's fit, he's always scoring.
Always scores. He does always score. He's not a consistent finisher, I would say. I think he's a kind of like a striker who needs a lot of chances to get a goal, but he does always seem to get a lot of chances in games because he uses his pace. He's very physical.
These two, Callum Wilson and David Brooks, is like the FPL kings from 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. They were so good together. And Brooks as well is a nice, tidy attacking midfielder, very young player who I think at 20 years old was starting every game last season for Bournemouth and playing really well. But big injury as well ruled him out. I think, look, he's a tidy player. Again, not a priority. I think he fits in the role of like Dele Alli and Lo Celso, that kind of role.
But would you take him?
Brooks?
Yeah.
If we got a good deal for him, I mean, I wouldn't have him as priority. But if there was money, if there was space and money for him, I guess so. I mean, I like him. I think he's a good player, and I think he can develop into very good. I think he's 21. But I think for me, Callum Wilson, if he's willing to come as a sub striker, I'll take him for sure. I would.
Yeah, I mean, I would as well.
Because he offers something different as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's a brilliant striker, Callum Wilson. I mean, he's more of the style of like Jermaine Defoe. I know I'm not saying he's as good as Jermaine Defoe, but he's that kind of poacher, quite fast.
He's not. I don't think he's as explosive in terms of his finishing. His technical finishing is not as good as Jermaine Defoe. But
whose is?
True, not many. But he's
Harry Kane.
But he's a very good finisher when you get him in and around the box. He's quite tight. He can be decent, but he just needs a lot of chances sometimes, and he needs space. I feel like a lot of times to run in behind. He's not as good as he's not as clinical anywhere near as like Harry Kane, or technically good in that sense. But he's a good physical striker.
Yeah. Let's move on to the last point of the video. Heung-min Son. The personal accolades keep growing this season for Sonny, as he was named Match of the Day Goal of the Season for that absolutely sensational roadrunner goal against Burnley. Picks the ball up just outside our box and literally takes it past the whole team and slots it lovely into the net.
Once
Sonny.
in a lifetime goal. It really was. Unbelievable, really, really special. I don't think I've ever seen a solo run like that in a Spurs shirt before. From that distance, to keep up his speed all the way through the pitch is exemplary. It's unbelievable stuff from Sonny, and well deserved for goal of the season. I think the Burnley players are still trying to catch him at the moment.
Literally.
And I think yeah, it's a shame. I think his form has dipped. We haven't seen that much. I mean, since the restart, he's been a bit on and off.
Yeah.
But I think that moment showed his absolute quality, and he was only one of 3 players, I think, to get 10 goals, 10 assists in the whole season.
And he's been our player of the year the last 2 seasons.
He got player of the year. Yeah, he got player of the year again. I think more for his consistency throughout the whole season. But yeah, I think his goal thoroughly deserved. He's always good for a Golazo, Sonny.
He is.
He loves a long shot. He loves a good run. He's a quality player. And what a bargain we had for 22 million. We signed him from the beginning from Leverkusen.
Definitely, and I think there was that thing how we signed Sonny instead of someone that rejected us, or we didn't.
Signed maybe Berahino.
Yeah, it was Berahino. That was it. Like, how differently things could have turned out.
Very different if we would have got Berahino. Very, very different.
Well, anyway.
The Levy out brigade would have been a lot sooner, I think, for sure, if we would have got Berahino instead of Sonny. Is that? How do you think that compares to a lot of other solo goals you've seen, like say Henry's against us and things like that?
The one Henry against us, he was hardly challenged. Our defence backed off, and retreated all the way, and then he had the shot. Sonny actually took it past everyone.
True.
So I think Sonny's one is a lot better than Thierry Henry's. A lot better. That Thierry Henry one, it was literally, if any other defence was defending that, they probably would have got the ball. But the Tottenham defence, literally, Stevie Carr, Ledley King, all of them, just retreat.
I don't like watching the Tottenham in the early 2000s, that's for sure.
But anyway, there you have it. That is the Tottenham update for you today. Like, subscribe and comment below and tell us your thoughts. And as always, come on Spurs.